So let's start off with our question number 1. As I told you before, all these questions are from Hadjik's textbook of regional anesthesia. So regarding anatomy, which of the following statements is correct in case of the supraclavicular ultrasound guided block? The block is performed where divisions are formed from the trunks. So let's take it statement by statement. So this is absolutely true. Whenever we perform brachial plexus blocks, so we can perform them at the interscalene groove, that is called as the interscalene brachial plexus block. We can perform them in the supraclavicular area, or we can perform it in the infraclavicular area. So your costoclavicular or infraclavicular brachial plexus blocks will come here, or we can perform it at the axillary level, that is called as the axillary brachial plexus block. Now these are the very basics. What are the parts of the brachial plexus that you block at each level? Okay, so your brachial plexus starts from here, from your C5, C6, C7, C8, T1 nerve roots. So at the interscalene level, between the anterior and middle scalene muscles, you're going to block the roots of the brachial plexus. Okay. In the supraclavicular area, these roots join to form the upper middle and the lower trunk of the brachial plexus. So at the supraclavicular level, you're actually blocking the trunks of the brachial plexus. Below the clavicle, the divisions of the brachial plexus pass. Okay, now clavicle is a bone. You can't go through the bone while giving the block. That is why divisions of the brachial plexus can never be blocked, because they go below the clavicle. Now, inferior to the clavicle, in the infraclavicular area, you will be blocking the cords of the brachial plexus. Okay, so your medial cord, your lateral cord, all of the posterior cord, all of these are blocked in the infraclavicular brachial plexus block. And in the axilla, the branches of the brachial plexus are given out. Okay, so which are the branches of the brachial plexus? All three cords, the lateral, medial and posterior, they have their own branches. So you have your axillary branch, radial branch, musculocutaneous branch. So all of these are there. In the axillary brachial plexus block, or axillary approach to brachial plexus block, we block these branches. Specifically, we block the musculocutaneous nerve and the RUM nerves, that is the radial, ulnar and the median nerve. Okay, so these are all the brachial plexus block approaches, and what are the parts of the brachial plexus you will block in them. So they are saying the block is in supraclavicular block, you block the trunks of the brachial plexus. Okay, so that's absolutely right. Then they say dorsal scapular artery crosses posterior to the middle scalene muscle. So for this, let's have a look at the anatomy of your supraclavicular area and the block. So these are the basic things that you should know. First of all, there is an artery over here, the huge artery which will be throbbing, which you can see, which is dark in color. It is the subclavian artery. Okay. Now the two muscles that you have to pay attention to is your anterior scalene muscle over here and your middle scalene muscle. Your brachial plexus is always between the anterior scalene and middle scalene muscle, starting from the interscalene groove to the supraclavicular area. Okay, so your brachial plexus is somewhere over here. It is superior or superficial to and lateral to your subclavian artery. Okay, so it is superior, posterior and lateral to your subclavian artery. In many places, it's written as it is posterolateral to the subclavian artery. So that is also right. Now, it is in between your middle scalene and anterior scalene muscles. So as you can see over here, your anterior scalene is here, your middle scalene is here. In between the two muscles, you have your brachial plexus. Okay. And through the brachial plexus, in the supraclavicular area, through the brachial plexus. So you can see in the middle of the brachial plexus, you have another artery that passes here, which goes right through the brachial plexus, and that is called as the dorsal scapular artery. Okay. Now, the fact that this artery is there makes it obvious that you have to always put a color Doppler on whenever you're giving the block ultrasound guided. Put a color Doppler in the image and try to see what are the vessels that are close to the brachial plexus while you're giving the block. Otherwise, you can accidentally puncture an artery and cause hematoma, or you can give your entire local anesthetic in the artery, leading to local anesthetic systemic toxicity. Okay. So very important to understand that. Now here they are saying the dorsal scapular artery crosses posterior to the middle scalene muscle. So the dorsal scapular artery is not posterior to the middle scalene muscle. As you can see over here, this is posterior and this is the anterior. That is how the picture is. Your dorsal scapular artery is in the middle of the brachial plexus. Okay, so it is not posterior. So this is a false statement. The subclavian artery passes anterior to the anterior scalene muscle. Again, this is a false statement over here. You can see that the subclavian artery is actually almost in between the anterior and middle scalene muscles. For this, I'll show you a better picture over here. This is your subclavian artery. This is your subclavian artery. Okay. Now, and this is anterior, this is posterior. That is the layout of the picture. Your anterior scalene muscle is over here. As you can see, this is a ultrasound picture of the muscle, and your middle scalene muscle, it is marked over here. So your subclavian artery actually falls in between the anterior and middle scalene muscle. It's not anterior to the middle scalene muscle. Okay. So over here also, this is a false option. The superficial and lateral branches come from C8 and T1. Now they are talking about the brachial plexus over here. The lateral branches of the brachial plexus come from C8 and T1. That is incorrect. As we know, the lateral cord is actually formed from the superior and the middle trunk of the brachial plexus. Okay, so that is the one that forms the lateral cord. So the branches of it, that is the musculocutaneous, then your lateral cutaneous nerve of arm, lateral cutaneous nerve of forearm, or all of those, your branches of the lateral cord are actually coming from the superior and middle trunk, and the nerve roots of that is C5, C6 and C7. Your superior trunk or your upper trunk is formed of C5 and C6, and your middle trunk is formed from C7. From your C8 and T1, you get your contribution to the posterior cord, and you get your contribution to the medial cord, and your branches come from there. All right. So basically, what your C8 and T1 don't contribute to the lateral part, or the branches given out from the lateral cord. Your C5, C6, C7 are the ones that give out the branches related to the lateral cord. So this is also a false statement in this case. So the correct answer over here, the true or the correct option is only option A.